What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, we are here to review and talk about the latest Paramount release of Red Eye on 4K as a part of this Paramount Presents line. I feel like I've been reviewing a ton of Paramount titles lately. Like, Paramount's really dominating the month of March. We still got another one coming up with Dragon Slayer on 4K, but I wanted to jump into Red Eye first because I remember seeing this movie back in the theaters back in 2005 and expecting something completely different than what I got from it. And to be honest, I've kind of had negative feelings on the film like ever since. I never went back to rewatch it. I did get this movie on DVD. I picked it up, I think, at a thrift shop like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, but I still have not rewatched it since I got it. And the DVD is the last format that came out for this release. Now, I'm pretty sure that it has a non-domestic Blu-ray release. I actually have a bootleg Blu-ray release of this that was sent to me a few months ago. So there are like Blu-ray releases of this movie out there, I think non-domestically, but this was the first ever official 4K, not just Blu-ray, but Blu-ray and 4K release from Paramount. So really doing the Lord's work and bringing this movie back into a definitive format for everybody's collection. So we're gonna really dig into this. Before we do that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, also comment down below what your thoughts are on Red Eye. I want to know, is this one of the better Wes Craven films to you? Let me know in that comment section below, and then turn on the bell notifications for any other future videos and reviews that I might have. Like I said, I'm going to be reviewing and talking about the upcoming Dragon Slayer. So getting into my thoughts on this actual movie, because I do like talking about the actual films themselves, guys, and then we'll get into the the overall like audio-visual quality and the special features and all that good stuff. But I did see this movie, like I said, back in 2005, and I don't know what I was expecting. I guess because it said Wes Craven in the trailer, just kind of painted this movie as a straight up like horror film. So I was expecting more or less like a slasher film on a plane or some kind of like monster movie. I saw Cillian Murphy in it. He was coming off of 28 Days Later at the time, so I was thinking like, I'm pretty sure in the trailer, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't somebody's eyes like glow red or something? I was thinking like this was going to be like a zombie film or a vampire movie on a plane or something. Some kind of monster movie is what I was expecting. And you more or less in this movie just get a straightforward action thriller. I would say action. I kind of struggled to say action, but there is a good amount of action in this movie. But I would definitely say it's more of a thriller. There's some political elements in it as well, so you could even call it a political thriller, with different elements and aspects that it inserts here. It's following two characters for pretty much the whole movie, Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy's characters. As they meet, they get on the plane together. Cillian Murphy's this real charming guy, and then when he gets aboard the plane, sits himself next to Rachel McAdams' character, or she sits herself next to him. One of the two happens. They're seated together, but he reveals himself to be a terrorist agent that's using Rachel McAdams, who's a hotel manager, to help him assassinate this like big government official. And I have to say that this time around, knowing what this movie is, I really enjoyed this a lot more than I did the first time that I watched it. I appreciated it for what it was. It's really kind of a Hitchcockian type thriller. Like, this is the type of movie that Hitchcock would do. Definitely a throwback to the old school Hitchcock movies of the 40s and the 50s and stuff like that. So I appreciate this movie a lot more now than I did back then. It's a very short movie. It's only 85 minutes, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's very brisk. It's very fast paced. She gets on the plane and almost immediately, like, he reveals himself. So you don't have a lot of messing around or build up or anything like that. They get right into it. They get right into the action and the meat of the story, like almost immediately. There's a little bit of setup in the airport, but they get into the actual like meat of the story very quickly. But it's very engaging, and I mean, mostly due to Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy's performance and their characters. They're very interesting characters. They're very complex characters in this movie, but the performances are so good. Like, Rachel McAdams at this point was a huge star. Like, this was 2005. She had just done The Notebook, which just like propelled her into superstardom, and Mean Girls. Like, both of those movies came out the same year. The next year, she followed that up with this movie, and then Wedding Crashers, which was a huge comedy. So Rachel McAdams was on top of the world, but her performance in this was really outstanding. She was really great in this movie. And Cillian Murphy is just excellent. Like, he's just super menacing and ominous, but also super charming and charismatic as well. And he manages to balance both of those things almost simultaneously. So I really enjoy his character in this movie. Like I said, though, most of this movie feels like a movie that Hitchcock would make back in the day. It doesn't feel like a Wes Craven movie, but when you get to those last 20 minutes, it really starts to feel like a Wes Craven film. You're like, oh, that's why Wes Craven is directing this movie. It really gets into more of his style and sensibilities as a director, kind of calling back to his old school like slasher roots with Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street, where Rachel McAdams basically essentially turns into the final girl of the story. Cillian Murphy, of course, is the villain. And you have this kind of cat and mouse chase sequence towards the end of the movie. And it really does remind you of the old school like Wes Craven slashers from back in the day, just how they structure it and pay it off. The only issue that I have with this film itself is that they do bring us very complex and compelling characters in this movie, and they place them in this very basic story. Like I said, it's an interesting story. I like the story. It's compelling enough, and it's good for this movie because it doesn't last too long. So I feel like they kind of squeeze all the juice they can out of this very simple premise and story. But I can't help but feel when I watch this movie that it could have been so much more. And I'm not calling for the extra length on movie for no reason, but I feel like there was enough with the characters. I feel like they're compelling enough that they could have done more with them. They could have added more twists and turns in this story and just made it more unique and more compelling. Because really at its core, it's a very simple premise and story, and how they set it up and how it pays off really doesn't change, and there's no like real twists and turns. Like there's some things that happen with the characters on the plane that's pretty suspenseful and does a good job of building the tension, but how they set this movie up and how it pays off is like pretty much what you would expect. So they don't really go for it in terms of like creating, like the characters are complex, but the story itself isn't very complex. And maybe that was intentional. Maybe it's good to just have a simple movie to sit down and enjoy, kind of a popcorn type movie or thriller to enjoy. But I just felt like there was a lot to these characters and the motivations, and I would have just liked to have learned more and just really crack into that. And I feel like the story didn't do the characters justice, if that makes any sense. But there's definitely some good tension and suspense, and I really enjoyed this movie a lot more than I did the first time. Happy to have it in my collection on 4K now. So as for a movie, guys, look, I'll give this a 4 out of 5. It's a really good, fast-paced thriller, very enjoyable. Like you throw this movie on, it goes by like that, you're done. You were entertained, so it definitely serves its purpose there. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Really good movie, and I would honestly put it in the upper echelon of Wes Craven directed films for sure. Now let's go ahead and jump into the 4K transfer here. So this is a 4K scan with HDR10 and Dolby Vision. And this was my first time watching this movie, like I said, since the theaters back in the day. So I don't really have any other transfer to base this on. I don't really have anything to compare it to. Now I did pop in the Blu-ray, which I'm pretty sure is also a 4K scan. I did pop in that Blu-ray, but I don't have any previous release to compare it to, only this DVD. And I can tell you right now, this looks better than the DVD by far, but most Blu-rays and 4Ks do. But I thought everything for the most part looked really good with this 4K transfer. I thought it looked really clean. They did a good job of delivering a nice, clean, crisp, clear picture quality here, and you know, very little grain. So if you're a grain hater, you don't really have to worry about much here. There's a little bit here and there, but it's really just a nice, clean transfer. It doesn't look like it's been DNR'd to death either. I know that's always a concern with Paramount. It looked really good. It looked really clean, looked really crisp. I know there are some parts of Double Jeopardy that kind of looked like they inserted a little bit more DNR than they should. But overall, guys, really good transfer. I think that most people that watch this will be happy with it. Getting into a little bit of the negatives, though, I did think that the opening airport stuff looked pretty bland. The colors were very muted, but when they got on the plane, the HDR really shined to me. I was just a little disappointed in the airport sequence itself, and maybe that's just the way the filmmaker Wes Craven intended it to look. Like the airport itself is very white, but all the colors, like you have the little girl that comes up and she's wearing like a little yellow sweater vest thing, and the color on that vest just looked very dull. And then when you got on the plane and you saw that same girl, like the colors just looked much more vibrant. So it seemed to be a difference when they shifted to the plane. Because the airport is at the beginning, and when I started watching, I was like, oh man, this is not gonna be as good as I was hoping it was gonna be for sure. Like I said, the last time we saw this movie, at least domestically, was on DVD. So this is damn sure gonna look better than that DVD. But is it gonna give you that definitive 4K that you're looking for? I think so for the most part. Just the first 15 minutes were, again, a little shaky to me. Just not as deep and rich with that HDR as I would have liked or expected it to be. But lots of close-up shots too once you get on the plane of Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams. All that stuff I thought looked fantastic. There's great detail there that is not present on the Blu-ray. Like I said, I did go back and watch the Blu-ray, but the facial detail just looked a lot softer. You're not noticing all the blemishes and imperfections and wrinkles and all that stuff in the Blu-ray that you are in the 4K. So the 4K here is definitely the way to go, and it's a definitive upgrade again from that DVD, but I think we all kind of expected that. As far as the sound, it is a 5.1 DTS HD master audio soundtrack, and I thought everything sounded great. There's a lot of great sound in this movie, you know, the airplane taking off, but just when they're in the air, there's a lot of airplane turbulence, and all of those sequences gave my sound system a good workout for sure. So all that stuff sounded great. As far as the sound, I don't think this is a movie that really needed to have Dolby Atmos. Again, that's always appreciated, but I don't think it's something that really takes away from it. I think the 5.1 is just good enough with this movie. Getting into the packaging though, guys, I always love the Paramount Presents packaging right here. I love the slipcover. I love the artwork on it. I think it's super cool. You have the red down there at the bottom with the plane taking off. You have Rachel McAdams' hand on the window right there with the blues. You have the Paramount Presents logo up there. I love the silver spine right there. You know, this is spine number 39, as I said in the beginning. Like I said, I'm going to show this off a little bit. Take it out. You have the exact same stuff on the case. I know I already unboxed this in a video this week, but if you didn't check that out, here you go. And I'll show you the back, and you got the special features, which we'll talk about here in a second. You got the synopsis at the top, and you got all the, you know, specs and casting lists and all that good stuff at the bottom. Go ahead and open it up. We got 2 discs in this set. This is a Blu-ray and 4K combo. So we do have the Blu-ray and the 4K here in this set. So you definitely kind of get your money's worth there. There's also a digital code in this set as well. So yeah, really good stuff here. Really good packaging. I always appreciate a good Paramount Presents packaged release. Now let's go ahead and dive into these special features, guys. And this is where I'm going to praise this release the most, which is always refreshing when I get to do that with special features of a release. I don't feel like I get to do that enough because, quite frankly, a lot of the studios slack when it comes to special features on their new releases. But Paramount Presents here really went all out, or Paramount really went all out with this Paramount Presents release. There's a new commentary on here with the editor Patrick Lussier, and the old commentary is also present on this release that was on the DVD with Wes Craven, producer Marianne Madella, and editor Patrick Lussier. So he came back to do the commentary, and he was also on the older commentary as well. There's also a new filmmaker focus, Wes Craven and Red Eye. So there's a guy talking about Wes Craven's legacy and the movie Red Eye. So that's a really good special feature as well. And there's also a new Wes Craven interview. Wes Craven, in his own words, it's never before seen footage of Wes Craven talking about the production of Red Eye. It's a super cool interview, just him talking about the movie, giving a lot of good stuff and a lot of good facts about the making of the movie. And he really gets into the performances, and in particular Rachel McAdams, and just how she really wowed him as an actress. So really great interview. Really cool that they were able to get a Wes Craven, because I was kind of curious when I was reading this, how did they get Wes Craven to do a new interview on this set? And it's because it's never before seen footage. So I guess back in the day, it didn't make the cut for this DVD, and they decided to use it for this release. So really great stuff, really great interview. Always good to hear Wes Craven talk. He has such a, I don't know, just the way that he speaks with his voice, it's so calming. I just feel very calm when I'm listening to Wes Craven talk. So it was a nice interview for sure. And then they also had the, you know, supplemental material that they ported over from the DVD. So there's the making of Red Eye, and there's also Wes Craven, a new kind of thriller. So there's 2 special features there. I'd say overall, guys, just the special features, there's at least 40 to 45 minutes of special features here when you have the new stuff and the ported over stuff. And then you have the 2 commentaries, the one new commentary and then the one old commentary. So they really did a good job with these special features here. And I was talking about it when this was first announced. What Paramount needs to do with this Paramount Presents line is really go all in on it and turn it into that, because I know this is what they want, turn it into that Criterion Collection boutique type line under the Paramount umbrella. So I think that they're starting to take steps, because before this release, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, Most of the Paramount Presents releases only have that filmmaker focus, which is like 5 or 6 minutes at the most, and that's the only thing new that they usually add. I know War of the Worlds added in like a whole new movie or a whole nother movie for the special feature, but that's a rare case. Most of them only have that filmmaker focus, so I think they definitely need to work to add in, new audio commentaries. That's definitely always appreciated, and new interviews as well. So Paramount did a great job, guys, with this release of Red Eye. Now, I know there's a point of concern when it comes to the price of this release. It is $34.99, which is definitely a very high price. And I know you guys want to know, do I think it's worth the $34.99? Now, I did pay for this release. I got this because I thought it was worth it. It's the first time this movie's been on Blu-ray or 4K. You get both in this set, so you get both the Blu-ray and the 4K plus the digital code. I like the packaging here. And guys, look, overall, there's a lot of new 4K releases for 30 bucks. So I'd say that $34.99 is a little steep, but you do get some extra features. They really do try to go the extra mile with this release, and it's the same price as a Criterion 4K. Is it up there with Criterion standards? Probably not picture quality wise. So I don't know, guys. I really like this release. I want to recommend it, but at $34.99, I would say maybe wait a couple of weeks. Maybe wait a couple of weeks. This movie is worth getting on 4K. It is 100% worth owning in your collection on 4K. Maybe wait a couple of weeks. I don't want to steer you guys wrong. I never want to steer you guys wrong. Maybe wait a couple of weeks. Wait till it goes down, because I really feel like in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, this is going to go down to $29.99. You're going to be able to pick it up for $5 cheaper. So I'd say this is definitely worth it at $29.99. $34.99, it is a little steep, so I understand where a lot of you guys are coming from. So definitely appreciate you guys checking out my review of Red Eye on 4K. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below your thoughts on Red Eye. Are you going to pick up this 4K? I will be leaving a link for purchase down below in the description. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and follow me on all my social media accounts. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Letterboxd, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on all those places. Follow me down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.